You want something that you can hold, that you can touch, that you can feel. I'm talking, of course, about sex. I'm talking, of course, about physical media. What's going on, everybody? I'm filmmaker Naldo Davenport. I wanted to talk about physical media. When I say physical media, I don't just mean DVDs. I don't just mean VHSs. I don't just mean vinyl. I don't just mean tapes. I don't just mean CDs. I mean all physical media, including books, magazines, newspapers, for those of you out there who do like to read newspapers still and like to have that newspaper in your hand. Yes, those people do exist. And we are living in a digital age, man. We're living in a time where all those video stores are gone. Just a lot of places that sell physical media. But you know what? It's interesting because we live in a digital age, but there's also a shift going on where a lot of people are reverting back to wanting to have a lot of physical media. They want their vinyl collections or specific vinyl records. They want their DVDs. They want those physical products. I love a hard copy. I love hard copy. I love my books. I have a lot of books. I have a lot of DVDs. I have a lot of Blu-rays, 4K steelbooks, all that. I have a few VHSs. Love having the cover art made. I love having the disc. I love having it on my shelf. I love the way it looks. I just love having that physical copy. I don't mind I have a digital library, don't get me wrong. I have a digital library when it comes to video games. I have a digital library when it comes to movies. But by choice, I will always get a hard copy. I love being able to go to a store and shop for physical copies. I love going to GameStop. If Blockbuster was still out there, I would still be going to Blockbuster. I love going to places like Barnes & Noble, for instance, that sell a lot of hard copies, books obviously. I love shopping for books. I don't mind an audiobook here or there, but I avoid it for the most part. I get the attraction of an audiobook, especially if you have a hard copy of a book and you're listening to audio book at the same time. Y'all, just a heads up, none of this stuff is scripted, okay? So I'm gonna be bouncing around a little bit. But anyway, physical media, back to it. I love going to a place, a coffee shop, and reading a book or a magazine. I've always been that way. And it'll only increase, I believe, as I get older. I can definitely see myself as an 80-plus-year-old man, and I'm still right there clinging on to my hard copy stuff and reading my books and everything. I just love hard copy. It's like having a painting in your house, right? If you had it on digital, you could probably have a screen up, but it still has to be up on the wall. It's like you're enjoying the art side of it and the possession of it, the actual possession of it. When it comes to watching the movies and television shows, they stream. You know, a lot of people are big on streaming services. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different streaming services. There's nothing wrong with like relying on a streaming service almost. I wouldn't rely on it, but the thing about relying on a streaming service and you have no hard copies is that if something happens, for instance, with like Netflix, and you're watching a movie or there's a movie on there that you intend to watch and you go back one day and they don't have rights to the movie one day, or maybe Prime doesn't have the rights to the movie anymore, or Apple TV doesn't have the rights to that television show anymore. So now you're just kind of lucked out. So how are you going to watch that? How are you going to watch a movie from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, modern day, or later than that? How are you going to watch and enjoy that TV show or that movie if that streaming service that you're paying for does not have it? Let's say you can only afford one streaming service. Like, as far as your budget is concerned, you have $5 to $15 extra a month to spend on entertainment media when it comes to a streaming service. That $5 to $10 is only going to pay for like one streaming service. There are some streaming services out there that are free, and you can just access stuff and then you can pay for stuff as you go if you want to. But let's say you can only afford one streaming service, right? And you want to watch a movie like, let's say you want to watch Desperate Measures, right? And you open up Prime or you open up Netflix and they don't have it. They don't have it for you to watch. Now, what a lot of those streaming services will do, like Prime, you would have to pay for the video or rent it right then and there. So at that point, you're having to buy it or you're having to pay to rent it, but you never actually own it. And that's absolutely ridiculous to me. Yeah, you can buy a digital copy, but if you buy a digital copy from a vendor, let's say for whatever reason something happens to their data and it's corrupt, and you pay for this digital copy, that digital copy is coming from a server from one of their hard drives in some mega data center. And then if something happens, then you can't watch it anymore because you don't have any DVDs, you don't have any VHS tapes or anything. And of course, yeah, you're not gonna have everything, even if you did, let's say, collect a lot of hard copies, you're not gonna have every movie out there. There's thousands of movies and television shows. But my point is, if you allow yourself to rely on just these streaming services, then whatever happens on their side, where it affects what they're able to give you, then you have to accept that, because now you've made your entertainment completely reliant upon whether or not they have available the movie or television show that you want to watch. So there's a huge benefit to having hard copies, going to these stores, or even going online if you have to. I prefer to go to stores. Or even going online if you have to, if you can't find something inside stores, and buying these hard copies of movies, television shows, video games, books, vinyl records, tapes, cassette tapes, CDs, all that good stuff, man. That is awesome media. If you buy that stuff yourself, then you have your own library, and no streaming service can take that from you. No streaming service can knock on your door and say, give me those DVDs. You can always throw that DVD inside your DVD player. You can always throw that VHS tape inside your VHS player and watch your TV or movie. And that's a huge benefit. That's the benefit of having those hard copies, having those DVDs. It's wild, man. So like years ago, I actually installed cable for 2 different communication services. I would go to people's homes when their internet goes out. They have nothing to watch. They don't have any DVDs. They have no VHS tapes. They have no books because a lot of people don't read, unfortunately. And they have nothing to watch. So it's like if you're going to be indoors, assuming that you're going to be indoors, you're going to get very bored very fast. I hope you have some board games. Board games are a huge part of physical media as well. Those card games, Magic the Gathering, Othello, checkers, chess, Scramble, all of that is physical media. You can sit down and play, and a lot of people take that for granted. So all of this stuff is a huge benefit. If you can have physical media inside of your home, I absolutely encourage you to do so, because what's happening right now with our digital age is that all these mega corporations, all these streaming services, they are providing all the entertainment when it comes to movies, television shows, books, video games. They're providing it to us as the consumer digitally. And when they do that, we are allowing them to have all the power over these products that we don't technically own. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there because I'm speaking while I'm making this video. Rockstar Video Games, for example, they decided to release a video game called Grand Theft Auto 6, which is a really huge video game. Even if you weren't into video games, you've probably heard of Grand Theft Auto because it's just so huge. They've decided not to release any physical copies, at least for the time being, for when they first released their video game. You have to buy the digital copy if you want to play that game within the first few months of them releasing it. And this is a huge example of what these corporations would do. And it screws us as a consumer who wants to buy a product, who have the right to buy a product and own a product. And a lot of people are criticizing people who are saying that it's ridiculous that they can't buy the disc version, the hard copy of that video game, and they're forced to buy a digital version. They're laughing at them because they're saying, oh, well, you're living in like an old age. Well, no. The thing is, when I buy something, I like to own it. I like to own it myself. And when you buy something digitally, it's sitting inside of those corporations' library. And if something happens, or if they decide to, they can put a lock on that. You don't actually own it. You're buying rights to access that data. That's what people don't understand. When you're paying for these streaming services, this video is way longer than what I intended, but I have a lot to say on this matter. When you're paying for these streaming services, man, you're not owning the product. You are paying for the right to have access to a digital library owned by a mega corporation that can do whatever with that digital library at any time. That is the major difference between someone who is paying for streaming services and have no physical media, and that person who has a lot of physical media. They actually own that media. They actually own those CDs. They actually own those books. They actually own those vinyl records. They own all those products. They don't have to rely on Sony or Amazon or Apple or Netflix to provide them with these basic forms of entertainment, these basic pleasures in life, you know, just being able to sit indoors and watch a freaking movie. They don't have to rely on them. Again, there's nothing wrong with paying for these streaming services. I have my streaming services, but I also have my own products. I have my own hard copies, and if something happens where, let's say, the Wi-Fi, the internet goes out in multiple cities, multiple states, in a country for who knows how long, you're gonna have to go a long time without watching a movie, reading a book, listening to music. I mean, could you imagine having to do that? You know, it's not the end of the world sort of thing, but it's like it's just a part of our everyday life that we're used to. You know, we're able to come home and decompress, able to play some music or watch a movie or watch a television show. These are basic pleasures in life, basic, you know, basic forms of entertainment that we enjoy out of everyday life. And if, let's say, something happened where there's no internet for a whole month, can you imagine having to not be able to watch a movie for a whole month, or listen to music for a whole month, or a television show, or let's say you can't even watch the news, for instance, you know? Can you imagine having to do that? What are you going to do at that point? You're going to sit down and read a book? A lot of people aren't going to do that, even if they're forced to. What's going to happen is, if that was to happen, they're going to be knocking on their neighbor's door, or they're going to go to their buddy's house who they've always been making fun of for having all these DVDs, and they're going to be like, hey man, can I borrow some DVDs? Can I borrow some cassette tapes? Can I borrow some CDs? Yeah, physical media is really important. That's really kind of the adjustment of the video. And I just wanted to give y'all something to think about. That is why I still invest in physical media. That is why I will always buy physical media, because I like to own a product. I like to pay for a product one time if I can. I don't like to rent and all that other stuff when it comes to these relatively minor products. It's just a really wonderful thing to be able to have inside of your home. So I encourage you guys, if you're completely reliant on a digital library, I hope you take what I've talked about to heart, and I hope I've given you something to think about and consider. But thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate everybody who has been listening to my vlogs, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.